What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. And today is NHL Monday. So, yippee. Um, Plan of attack. In case you're not on YouTube, you'll go over it anyways. But still, um, we're gonna go for fantasy first things, as per usual. So the bracket. Oops. That's my baseball intro. You already saw that on my baseball channel. If you watched the video, my MLB predictions for this season, but it's fine. All right. So the championship is on in my fantasy bracket between the number 1 Leather versus number 2 Summon Slayers. And then the fight for third place between me and the Baldy. And then the fight for fourth place, I believe. Yeah, the consolation ladder is second round of that is going on. So, yeah. That's that. I think that the consolation bracket is a round robin tournament. I think they all play each other once, and then after that, whoever has the most wins after all that places in the league is fourth place overall. So yeah, I'm assuming that's how that goes. Yeah, and then next thing after that, we'll go over my predictions for today's games. Yeah, the games that already happened, but I made my prediction before the game started. Review yesterday's NHL games, and then go over the NHL standings as it is indubitably NHL Monday. Talk about that for a little bit, and just go over that, and then we're done for the day. So yeah, let's get into it. The championship match of my fantasy here. This one is March 31st to April 17th, so it ends at April 17th. So when the playoffs start, when the NHL playoffs start. So yeah, this is the last round. So well, I'm assuming whoever wins the matchup between Toronto Maple Leafs and the Glizzy will win the championship, right? Yeah, sounds just about right. And then whoever wins the Smart team and Daniel's Darren team should get fifth, and then whoever wins the taco game should get sixth, and then down out. And then whoever loses the Toronto Maple Leaf game should get seventh. Whoever loses the Daniels Darren team game will get eighth, and then whoever loses the taco game get ninth. And yeah, there'd be left one out. Never mind. I think I know. I think I forgot about the loser of my game, but they would get fourth. So they would get fourth. So then yeah. Okay, so anyways, the championship score right now is 17.2 to 7.0 in favor of Salmon Slice, who's number 2 in the league. Actually tied with Leather for number one in the respective divisions. Salmon Slayer's top performers are Cam McCarr, Devon Taves, and Mikael Grunland. Leather's top performers are Nico Hischier, Jessup Brett, and Nyman. Leather's the team that beat me in the first round. And then speaking of me, me versus the Baldy are playing right now. Baldy is winning 6.6 to 0. My top performers are Stefan Nason and Marty Nietzsche, only two people that scored for me today. And then the Baldy top performers are Matt Baldy, that makes sense again, Matt Van Mitrikov, and Philip Forsberg. In the consolation bracket, the Toronto Maple Leafs and Glizzy. Toronto Maple Leafs top performers Mackenzie Weegar, Matthew Shane, Esther Lundell. Glizzy's top performers Baron Montour, Nelson Kadri. Daniel Dan team losing to Steve Smart team 6.5 to 2.6. Steve Smart team top performers Luke Keith, Brady Shea, Rasmus Anderson. Daniel Dan team top performers Nathan McKinnon, Brock Nelson, Rope Hintz. Taco is tied with Just a Scary team 4.6 to 4.6. Taco's top performers Travis Konechny, Timo Meyer, Cam York. Just a Scary team top performers Travis Sanheim, Owen. So, yeah, that is fantasy. I want to go to review my predictions for today's games. I had the Wild defeating the Devils. The Wild are really good at home. On the road, Devils are banged up. The Devils just beat the Wild 2 days ago, I believe. I think the Wild are going to get one up over them. Devils ended up winning in a shootout today in New Jersey. I had the Flyers defeating the Predators. Flyers pretty hot, or decently hot, playing really good the last couple games. Predators are struggling. Take the Flyers in that one, which ended up winning 2-1 at home. Avalanche defeating the Flames. I thought the Avalanche is a better team and they're at home, but the Avalanche lose 3-2 in a shootout. Then the Stars beating the Kraken. Stars just beat them the other day. I think they're going to beat them again, in which they did 3-1. 35 save performance by Casey Smith, and now they're on a 6-game win streak. But we'll talk about that more in a minute. Monday. Let's review yesterday's NHL games. Starting with the Canadiens upsetting the Panthers in Florida, 4-2. It's 26-23 in favor of the Florida Panthers. The Canadiens get the job done. What a game from the Canadiens. They're a scrappy team. They can win a couple games in the playoffs. That is for sure. It depends on the matchup, though. Likely going to play if they get into the playoffs, it'd be in the second wildcard spot, in my opinion, which they would play the Capitals. So that would be pretty tough. But especially since the Capitals just got Ryan Leonard, which, speaking of that, Ryan Leonard is now Washington Capital, and Gabe Perreault's a Ranger. Gabe Perreault's going to help the Rangers' playoff push a lot. They needed somebody like that. They might even make the playoffs now after that. But Ryan, so yeah, the Rangers could make the playoffs with Gabe Perreault. I don't think he's going to help that much. He's going to help a lot, but he's not going to help just good enough to get his team into the playoffs. But Ryan Leonard at the Capital, that's going to help him in the playoffs a lot with that top end scoring. He probably slide in right to the top 6, at least top 9, and will really help with that scoring on that Capitals team. I'm telling you, the Capitals could make the Stanley Cup Finals here. I already think they're going to at least the Eastern Conference Finals, because I think they're a better team than the Hurricanes and the Devils. And then whoever they face in the first round, whoever the second wildcard team is, likely. I think they're better than them all, honestly. So I think they're going to make the Eastern Conference Finals. But if they play the team like the Lightning, which I believe they will, or the Panthers, Leafs, one of those 3 teams, in my opinion, in the conference finals, they could beat any of those teams in a 7-game series. We know they can. Especially as Gabe Perreault add that top 9 scoring. Very huge acquisition for them. Speaking of the Capitals, they fall 8-5 to the Sabres at home. Terrible goaltending performance there from the Capitals netminder Logan Thompson. 15 saves and 22 shots against. Doesn't play like that a lot of times, but OV does get goal 890. 4 away from tying Gretzky's record, 5 away from breaking it, down to counting with one hand. So, yeah. There's that. I think the Capitals are looking really good, though, heading for playoff time. I'm getting closer and closer to playoffs with NHL and USHL, so that's going to be fun. Best time of the year for hockey and basketball and March Madness. It was really the best time for sports in general. NHL playoffs coming up. USHL playoffs coming up. Basketball playoffs coming up. NFL draft. MLB regular season starting. March Madness. And NCAA hockey Frozen 4. Like, UFC still on. Boxing. I mean, really, it's the best time for sports. For sure. March and April. Really just the best. Especially March. March in general. And then March in the beginning of March all the way to mid-April around is the best time for sports. And then after mid-April, you got basketball, NHL, and USHL playoffs. And then March Madness is usually over by then, and so it's a Frozen 4. But really March and April, and then May too, kind of. Some of May. They just 2-month-ish span is really the best time in sports. But yeah. And then the Jets pick up a huge 2 points for win number 51 over the Vancouver Canucks. It is a 23 save on 24 shots against performance for Connor Hellebuck, is continuing to try to win the Hart Trophy, which is the MVP. Hart Trophy for the Chicago now. Their business fight. They needed those 2 points if they want to try to stay in the wild card fight. They get it. Go down 2-1 to the Blackhawks at one point, and then they score 4 unanswered to win the game. Fight both in the defenders. Game goes 0-0 going in the open course. Crosby up. The only goal night is in overtime. Power play. Crosby. Sorry, a 30 shutout. phenomenal goaltending. Both the goalies, which are in the sub, got the hurt. Stanley Cup playoff first round. This matchup, the Hurricanes take care of business, just like they have the past couple years in the playoffs. 6-4 at home over the Islanders. Big game for them as they stay pretty hot. They've been really good the last 15, 20 games ish. The Leafs, too close for comfort there. They go up 2-0 to start the game, let the Ducks come back, and then they get goals 11:35 into the third period by Steven Lawrence, and they hang on from there and get the W. 29 save on 31 shots against for Joseph Roll. Both released goaltenders looking playoff ready right now. I'm not gonna lie. Well, speaking of looking playoff ready, we got the Kings dropping a touchdown and a 2-point conversion versus the Sharks. Kuzmenko stays really hot. The Kings offense, defense, and goaltending stays hot. Kings could make some noise in the playoffs, including finally getting over the kryptonite in the Oilers. 22 saves and 23 saves against from 1-800 Big Save Dave. In net, Dave Riddick. How do you say that? Riddick, I think. 1-800 Big Save Dave on dial. So let's go to the standings here. All right, here. Start the Atlantic as per usual. Atlantic, Metro, Central. Pacific, as per usual. No point changing it up here. All right. Here's what we're looking like right now. In the Atlantic Division, number 1 in the Atlantic is the Toronto Maple Leafs. 45, 25, and 4 for 94 points. 6-3-1 in the last 10, 2-game win streak. Looking good. Both the goaltenders looking playoff ready. Don't think goaltending is really one of the main issues in the playoffs. So one of the main issues is where they're gonna get the scoring from. Are they gonna get the scoring from the top 6? Are they gonna get consistent depth scoring? Is Austin Matthews gonna be fully ready? Is he gonna be flowing up the form for the playoffs? Is Mitch Marner gonna stay consistently good for the playoffs? We know Nylander's been consistently good all the season. 35 goals scored this season. Well, I don't think he's quite got 35, but he's pretty close. If he doesn't already have it. Actually, let me confirm that. But yeah, either way, we know Nylander's consistently good. He can score goals in big time moments, get good assists, great playmaker, keep the play going. That's just the type of person he is. Yeah, Nylander actually has 42 goals. Probably get 45 by the end of the year, close to 50. So 45 plus goal scorer this year. Good playmaker as well. Really can put the team on his back when he needs to. Austin Matthews, if he gets back to what he was doing last year, actually Navs, he's 69 goal scorer last year. He hasn't been the same this year. Nylander's really taken over. Matthews a bit in and out of the lineup for the first couple months. I mean, he has been really all year, but especially the first couple months. He got back, and then he went out for a little bit, and then he came back. He's been back, but kind of not been the same. You know, see what he does in playoff time. It's Mitch Marner going to be consistently good for the playoffs. Is Nylander, we know, like I just said, we know good. But so, are they going to get good bottom 6 scoring? Are they going to get the depth to score on a consistent basis when they need it? When they need to roll 4 lines, are they going to be able to trust their bottom 6? Versus teams like the Lightning and the Panthers, who we know have really good team up and down the lineup. Do the Leafs have a number 1 defenseman? They don't really. Morgan Riley was a number 1 defenseman for the past couple of years. He's had a really, really bad year. Been bad. Chris Tanev is not a number 1 defenseman. He's probably like a top 3 defensive defenseman, but he's not like a number 1 defenseman who can score. That's not the type of player he is. Ulrich Larson is definitely not a number 1. The Leafs don't have a number 1 defenseman. So the big 2 issues that I can think of right now, besides obviously playoff success, they haven't had that, but where they're going to get the goal scoring from, are they going to be able to roll 4 lines, that forward core stuff, and do they have a true number 1 defense? They have really good defensive depth, but do they have a number 1 defense, a number 1 defender that can really, you can trust to go out there on the power play? You know, a defender that can go out there and get goals. move the puck, play good defense, get in good position, see off bodies. Stuff that you need from a number one defender that can really win you games. The decider, just like this, like the like a needle mover. There we go. A needle mover on your team that can get the job done. The Leafs don't really have that, so they do have a couple of glaring issues for the playoffs. But right now, they're looking pretty good right now. As of late, both the goaltenders are looking great. Which one are they going to rock in the playoffs? Joseph Woll, who's had the past, at least last year, in the couple games that he played, he looked great, but he wasn't in for most of the games. He only played like 2 games. He looked great in the games he played, though. And Anthony Stolarz played a little bit of that Stanley Cup run, but was on the bench for most of it, but still. And overall, whoever goalie they decide to rock with, it can't be a wrong decision. I mean, it could be a wrong decision. They could just play like, I don't know. It could whatever goalie they play you pick to play could play like absolute crap, but still. But yeah. And then number 2 in the Atlantic is the Tampa Bay Lightning, 43-25-5 for 91 points. 6-3-1 in the last 10. 3-game win streak themselves. Vasilevsky looking ridiculous. Probably the finalist this season. Winning at will right now. Defense looking really, really good. Offense scoring at will. Scoring way more consistently than Leafs and the Panthers this season. Keeping the puck out of the net. Playing great defense. Great power play. Great penalty kill. Actually, not very great penalty kill. It's actually pretty meh penalty kill if I remember correctly. So I think it might be pretty decent. I think it might just be middle of the pack. I'm pretty sure, actually. It's actually known as 7th penalty kill. So yeah, it's really good penalty killing. We know they're really good power play, led by Kucherov and them. Yep, 6th best power play. Really, really, really good special teams all around. They can score. They have multiple different scorers. Kucherov's obviously the number 1 superstar. But then if he's having a bit of an off night, which he doesn't usually do, but hypothetically, if he were to have a bad night or wrong time, we got other scorers like Braden Point who could step up big time. 40-plus goal scoring himself. Jake Gunsel, 40-plus goal scoring himself. Could step up big time. Braden Hagel has the most even strength goals this season. Playing out of his mind this season, the top 6. Anthony Cirelli, Nick Paul, those guys, like, they could step up big time. Yanni Gourde, Alva Bjorkstrand, those 2 trade deadline acquisitions. There's so much depth on this roster that could step up big time if they need them to. If they step up big time in general. Up and down the lineup, the defense has been great. Victor Hedman's been back to form on both sides of the ice. Brian McDonough's been the huge number 2 defenseman that they really needed. JJ Moats has been great. Eric Cernak's been great. Darren Radish has been great on the defense. All of them on the defense. They've been really just been putting it together this year. And them trading for Yanni Gourde and Alva Bjorkstrand around the trade deadline really proved to me and a lot of other people around hockey world that they're really going all in this year, and they're expecting to make big noise this year, and I think they will make big noise this year. I think they're going to Stanley Cup final this year. But yeah, I just really like this team up and down the lineup. I mean, like when you look at it from a perspective, they have good playoff experience. They have the playoff pedigree, playoff success. Have the superstar score, consistent scoring up and down the lineup. Big player that can step up like whenever they want on a consistent basis, up and down the lineup. They could roll 4 lines. Number 1 defenseman, number 2 defenseman, great defensive depth. And then Andrei Vasilevsky in net, looking like prime, true Andrei Vasilevsky. This team could really, really make some noise this year, and I won't be surprised if they do. I think they will personally. This team's great up and down the lineup. And they're pretty physical. They have been pretty. I mean, they're not super physical, but they can be when they need to, especially in the playoffs. We know how physical they can be. Just turn up a notch and they'll be physical. Speaking of turn on a notch and be physical, it's the Florida Panthers, number 3 in the Atlantic, 44-26-3. Tied with the Tampa Bay Lightning, same amount of games played, same amount of points. Florida Panthers 5-5 in the last 10. They've been looking shaky. They're a physical team. Block shots, good in offense. They have had a bit of a down year on the offensive side of the puck, kind of. Yeah, for their standards. But they can roll 4 lines, Barkov to Chuck, Marchand, Reinhart, Bennett. They've been great. Verhage, in the bottom six, Anton Lundell, those guys like that have been phenomenal this year. Defense have been great. No, they have a number one defenseman, Aaron Eck, but he hasn't been there for a while. He probably missed the first 2-3 games of the playoffs. If I remember correctly. I saw that first time. But he missed a couple playoff games. I'm pretty sure. Either way, when he's back, he'd be good. He's been great. Had playoff experience too from last year. This whole team in general has playoff experience from not only obviously winning the cup last year, but making it to the Stanley Cup final and then failing to win it in 2023 when they won that crazy cup run from being the second wild card seed out of the East. So really, yeah, that's kind of how the Florida Panthers are looking right now. They can make a Stanley Cup final run and win it all this year. Nobody really is surprised. If you're surprised, you don't know hockey like that, so it's fine. So yeah, that's the Atlantic. And then in the Metro, we have the Washington Capitals, 47-17-9 for 103 points, 6-3-1 the last 10. Them adding Ryan Leonard, I think, really could push them over the edge. The needle mover, as I just mentioned before, needle mover, different situation, but still the needle mover for this Washington Capitals, not only offense, but team in general. I really think that. I think really the offense needed somebody like Ryan Leonard that could really push them over the edge. Like he can score really young, add that young youth to the roster. Yeah, I mean this team's really, really good. Who's one of the highest offenses in the entire league? Good power play, good penalty kill, great defense, and top to bottom. Have a number one defense in John Carlson, Jacob Chicker, and Rasmus Sandin, Matt Roy, whatever one really wants to step up. Just name four great defensemen right there. And they have other ones too. They have phenomenal defensive depth, and then goaltender Logan Thompson, great in the playoffs. He's been great in the playoffs multiple times. Including just last year, he's great for the Knights in the first round season. They did lose in 7 games to the Stars, but that Stars team was really, really good. And he was doing exactly what the Knights expected him to do that series. Played really, really good. So yeah, this team could make a bit of a run. They have it all really this year. They could. You never know. They've been really consistently good all year. Number 2, the Carolina Hurricanes, 45-24-4 for 94 points, 8-2 in the last 10. This team's nasty. Getting goals from people, but up and down the lineup, they can roll 4 lines. They're physical, the heavy forward checking. Great defense. Number 1 defenseman, Jacob Slavin. Top, it's a phenomenal defensive depth. And then goaltending, Freddie Anderson and Pierre Kachuk both have playoff experience. And it's been good in the playoffs in years past. My main concern with the Hurricanes is, are they going to be able to get big-time goals when they need it? Is there one player on that team that you can trust to roll out on that team to say, yeah, go out there and get us a big goal? We need a goal right now. Go out and get it. I don't see it. Sebastian Aho is a good 80 to 90 point scorer, but he's not mainly known for his goal scoring, and he doesn't usually score big goals when they need it. He's not the type of person to do that. Seth Jarvis, not really. Not really. Nechikov hasn't been playing really good. You could go up and down the lineup, and Stankoven's good, but first of all, he's young, and second of all, he's not. I don't think he's there quite yet in that goal scoring aspect. They're not. I don't think they have the number one true goal scorer that you can put on the ice anytime and say, go out there and get us a big goal. You create some momentum to be able to get that big goal. You're gonna be the guy that we run our offense through. They don't have that on their team. That's been the problem for the past few years, honestly. For quite a few years now, they haven't had the number one superstar, and they're continuing to have that problem, and they're not going to make much noise in the playoffs, but they continue not to have it. They need a superstar who could put out on the ice and say, you go score us a big goal. That's what they need. Number 3 in the Metro New Jersey Devils, 40-29-7 for 87 points, 5-4-1 the last 10. 2-game win streak. They're not winning games at an extremely high rate, but they're staying afloat. Without Jack Hughes for the rest of the year, including playoffs. Same thing with Dougie Hamilton. Deegan Haller out for a while. They're hurt. But I looked at the lines today. They're not actually terrible lines. Like they're not. They actually look pretty good. Honestly, they have pretty good lines. They still have pretty decent depth up and down the lineup, offense and defense. And the goaltender Jacob Markstrom's been playing great this year, and Jake Allen's been playing really underrated this year too. So both the goalies are great. And yeah, you never know if Devils could upset the Hurricanes. Is it gonna happen? Probably not. Hurricanes probably a little too good for them. Because Devils are beat up right now. They're hurt, but if the Devils are fully healthy, I'll take the Devils over the Hurricanes. But even with the hurt Devils, they still might give the Hurricanes a run for the money in the first round series. It's basically inevitable at this point that will end up happening. The first wildcard teams are Senator 39, 28, and 6 for 84 points, 6, 3, and 1 in the last 10. Ottawa Senators looking really good. They added Dylan Cousins, Fabian Zetterlund. Those guys, they added those at the trade deadline. Very, very good pieces. They've been great. Defense have been great. Linus Ullmark's been great. Forsberg just had a phenomenal performance in his last game. Yesterday, actually, when he made 34 saves or whatever it was with the Penguins in the 1-0 overtime loss. Definitely not his fault because Tristan Jarry had 31 save shutout on the other end of the ice. Um, yeah, the Senators looking really, really good right now. If they win a couple huge games down the stretch, you will see the Senators with an X next to their name for a clinch playoff spot. Finally, Senators fans needed that one. Number 2 is Montreal Canadiens for a wild card. Number 2 wild card team, so the last team to be in the playoffs that started today. 34, 30, and 9 for 77 points, 4, 3, and 3 in the last 10. They're okay. They did just go on a bit of a bad streak there, but they got a huge win in Florida versus the Panthers. That could be the thing they need to get back on the right track and create some separation, hopefully, between them, Rangers, and Blue Jackets, and the Red Wings, and all of the Eastern Conference race there. So, my predictions for the Atlantic, I have the. I'm going to still have the Panthers winning the Atlantic. Number 2, Lightning. Number 3, Leafs. No, number 2, Leafs. Number 3, Lightning. Yeah. In the Metro, just as it is right now, number 1, Washington. Number 2, Carolina. Number 3, New Jersey. And my 2 wildcard teams, in order, literally what it is right now, number 1, Ottawa. Number 2, Montreal. That playoff bracket would be the Senators and the Leafs in the first round, which that could be upset. That could be an upset. I would genuinely take the Senators in 7 games. Look at it. Look at it on paper. Senators, they can score up and down the lineup. They can. Tim Stutzel, Brady Chuck, great top end scorers. They have phenomenal forward depth. They have a number 1 defense in Jake Sanderson. They have a number 2 defenseman, Thomas Shabbat. They have good defensive depth, and Linus Ullmark's a phenomenal goalie with playoff experience. I mean, the playoff experience of the team is a problem, but I mean, hey, you never know. Well, I'd probably still take the Leafs in 7 games. Honestly, yeah, because I think the center is a little too streaky for my liking. That would be Battle of Ontario the first round. I don't know. I would have to do more research on that. I would have to look more in depth in that before I actually make my official opinion on that. Fuck you, I'm going either way. But yeah, I'd have to do more research on that before I actually think. So if there's playoff predictions right now, and this is how it would be, which I have it being, I would have to do my research before I make an official opinion on it, though. And also, when you're picking playoff matchups, I'm trying to think, like, don't look at the record. Like, the record doesn't matter, right? Just look at the teams for who they are, who I think win in the series if they had an equal record, right? This playoffs are a brand new season. Brand new season in the playoff, brand new type of game. And also, you got to see what type of team will adjust the playoff atmosphere. Ottawa Senators is the type of team that play will translate to the playoff. Leafs have not been able to do that, so. That also plays a factor in who you pick and win in the playoff series. Which team will you think will play better in the playoffs overall? Which team will adjust the playoff atmosphere better than the other one, or which one will play in the playoffs better than the other one? So that's a big thing when you're picking playoff matchups. Look at the Bruins, bro. They're in a 5-game losing streak. I forgot how bad the Bruins are right now, dude. Actually, Sabres are literally about to overtake them for second worst in the East, dude. In the Western Conference Central, we got the Winnipeg Jets, 51-19 4 for 106 points, 7-3 in the last 10 3-game win streak. I didn't really believe it before, but the Stars are 4 points behind the Jets with 8 games left to play for each, and the Stars have an easier schedule, and they play each other once. Stars have an easier schedule coming up. They do. They have a much easier schedule coming up right now. Let's take a look at the Dallas Stars schedule coming up right now. And I'll add up the points that I think they'll both get. In my head here. Gotta keep track of it. So, hold up. They play the Predators, which I think they'll win. They play the Penguins, which I think they'll win. So that's 4 points. They play the Wild, which I think they'll win. That's 6 points. They play the Canucks, who I think they'll win. That's 8. The Jets, I think they'll lose to the Jets. Hockey Club, I think they'll beat the Hockey Club. 10 points. I think they beat the Red Wings and the Predators to end the season. So that'll be 14 extra points on the books. For the Jets, they play the Flyers. Oh, wait, never mind. They play the Kings in LA, which they'll probably lose, honestly, in my opinion. Just because it's in LA. Play the Knights in Vegas, who I think they might honestly lose that game too. But I think they'll win that game. So 2 points. Probably beat the Hockey Club, 4 points. It beat the Blues, in my opinion, 6 points. It beat the Stars, I just said, 8 points. Beat the Blackhawks, 10 points. Beat the Orioles and the Ducks, so that'd be 14. So the both teams would get 14 points, in my opinion, which would lead the Jets to win the Central. So, and even if they don't win that Vegas game, which is pretty iffy, and they get 12 points, in my opinion, because I think they beat the Stars, they would still have 2 more points than the Stars, so. Yeah. I think that the Jets are still win the Central, but it's 100% a possibility that the Stars end up winning the Central. I think the deciding factor, similar to the USHL, how that's kind of going right now, will be that one game that they play against each other later in the season down the line. So, yeah. Jets looking nasty, though. Best goaltender in the world. Goaltender looking for a Hart Trophy, MVP, in case you didn't know. Defense looking great. Best power play in the league. Top 15 penalty kill. Best 5-5 defense in the league. Your best even strength defense in the league. Best score differential in the league. One of the best offenses in the league in general. It's one of the best teams in the league in general. That's how it is. Number 2 in the Central, Dallas Stars. Also clinched a playoff stop. 49-21-4 for 102 points. 7-1-2 in the last 10. 6-game win streak. This team's on fire. They even though they are getting outshot by feel like 10 plus shots a game most of the time. I mean, today it was only by 5 shots by the Kraken, but 5 to 10-ish shots a game. They're getting outplayed a lot of times, but they're finding a way to get wins because the goaltenders are finding a way. Both of them are trying to get 30 plus save performances every night. I don't believe in the Stars. I've already explained this multiple times. The fact that they're getting outshot by 5 to 10 shots and getting heavily outplayed by every opponent, including the Kraken twice, getting bailed out by the goalies, having 30 plus save performances, that's not gonna fly in the playoffs. The Penguins playing the Avalanche in the first round, which I got heavily outplayed by the Avalanche and lost to the Avalanche because I got heavily outplayed by them. I think it's going to happen again in the playoffs. Avalanche too fast for them. Stars getting bailed out by the goalie last time against the Kraken twice. And they got bailed out by the goalie. They didn't get bailed out by the goalie, but they got outplayed by the Avalanche, and the Avalanche capitalized on it and actually got the Kraken stink. So, with that being said, I think the Avalanche will beat the Stars in 6 games in the first round. Yeah, I do. They're too fast for them. Stars are going to be too slow. Avalanche are going to be too fast for them, too skilled. And the Avalanche, they're number 3. 45-26-4 for 94 points, 6-2-2 in the last 10. They're really good. The fastest team in the NHL. One of the best offense in the league. Great defense. They started off with really bad goaltending, but right now they got good goaltending. Really good goaltending, actually. Great power play, great penalty kill. Overall, really, really, really good team from top to bottom. Also, one of the best home teams in the league in themselves. Nathan McKinnon's on a 25-game home point streak, something ridiculous like that. So, yeah, they're always a dangerous bet in the playoffs. In the Pacific Division, number 1 is the Vegas Golden Knights, 45-20-8 for 98 points, 7-1-2 in the last 10. They're on a 6-game win streak of themselves. The Knights could have clinched today if the Avalanche beat the Flames. in regulation, but the Avalanche not only uh, went to overtime, so that automatically cancels out the Knights' opportunity to clinch the playoffs, but they also ended up losing to the Flames. So, in a shootout. So, yeah. But the Knights will probably clinch within the next game. I'm assuming if they win the next game, they clinch. I don't know, but I'm assuming so. And then, so yeah, but the Knights are looking really good. I think they'll probably go to the conference finals because they're better than the Kings and the Oilers, in my opinion, by a decent margin. The Kings are number 2 in the Pacific, 41-23-9 for 91 points, 7-3 in the last 10. This team's looking nasty, dude. They're scoring at an all-time rate right now. In the last like 5-ish games, scoring a lot of goals. Defense looking really, really good. They like to slow the pace down. They like to slow the game down, make the other team work hard for the shots. They're a really physical team too. They wear you down. They're a very defensive team. They won't let you get very much shots. They'll suffocate you in the neutral zone. They're a really, really good team there. Also, I feel like, in my opinion, kind of built for the playoffs. Team like that's also kind of built for the playoffs. I feel like that translates to playoff success, in my opinion. It hasn't been, but I think it will eventually. And then Darcy Kemper in net's been great this season. He has playoff experience with the Avalanche 3 years ago when he won the Cup. So, with that being said, the Kings could beat the Oilers this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings get home ice advantage, which they would if it started today, since the Kings have 2 more points than the Oilers with the same amount of games left. The Kings honestly would probably win that series. But we're going to talk about the Oilers here. They're 42-26-5 for 89 points. 5-4 in the last 10. They are picking up a decent amount of wins, but the goaltending is bad. The defense is bad. The offense is good, but not performing as high as what it has been the past couple years. Will really carry them. McDavid, Drysdale obviously is about to score 60 goals, it feels like this year. Honestly, he might. And McDavid's doing just McDavid things. Those two will flip yet another notch in the playoffs. I know they always do, but it's gonna be enough this year. So they're gonna be able to cover up their goaltending and defensive issues. If they play the Kings in the first round, the way the Kings are scoring right now is what they needed. They needed consistently good scoring. Down the stretch here in the last 9 games, well, I'm interested to see how the Kings can score. If they're scoring like they have been scoring lately, heading into the playoffs, I would pick the Kings in probably 6 or 7 games. If they start slowing down on their scoring and they look like they have been the past couple years and they just can't seem to score, I would take the Oilers in 6. Really, what's gonna decide who I pick in the playoff series is how the Kings are able to score in their last 9 games. So we're just gonna have to see how they're able to score in the last 9 games. So yeah. And then the 2 wildcard teams. The first wildcard team is the Minnesota Wild right now, 41-28-6 for 88 points. 4-4-2 in the last 10. The winning game, the losing games kind of thing. They win 1, they lose 1, they lose 2, they win 2, they win 3, they lose 3. Very just, I feel like just like a team that's like 500. That's just what they feel like, just an average team. But the reason why they're so average because they're like the Minnesota Hospitals, and they're just hospitalized the entire season. Coca Brizal's been out for a while. Joe Eriksson was out for a while. Boldy, Faber is out for a while. Yeah, I mean Middleton. Really the whole team was out at one point. A lot of them are still out. So yeah, they're really hospitalized. Gustafson's great. The defense is great when it's fully healthy, which it hasn't been. And the forward core is pretty decent when fully healthy, especially with a top 10 player, in my opinion. Could be yourself when he's healthy. They don't really have that consistent second scorer outside of Kaprizov, but especially when they don't have Kaprizov. They don't have a number 1 scorer right now, which is their problem heading in the playoffs. They either don't have second scorer if they have Krill. If they don't have Krill, they just don't have a consistently good number 1 scorer. Number 2 in the wild card is the Blues, 40-28-7 for 87 points, 9-1 in the last 10. They're on a 9-game win streak right now. They are 1 point behind the Wild since the Wild picked up the point in today's game, as they now have the same amount of games played. So they both have 7 games left to play. Wild have 1 more point. We're gonna see who gets the first wild card spot. Whoever gets the first wild card spot will play the Knights more than likely. Probably play the Knights, and then whoever gets the second wild card spot will play whoever wins the Central, more than likely. Yeah, they should play whoever wins the Central, either the Stars or the Jets, which in my opinion would be the Jets, but still, yeah. My Central Division rankings for the end of the season. Not rankings, but standard predictions here. I think the Jets will get number one in the Central. Then it'll be the Stars and the Avalanche. In the Pacific, it'll be the Knights, Kings, Oilers. And then my wild card teams are gonna be number one. I gotta check these team schedules here. I gotta keep in mind that the Wild do have an extra point right now, which could come down in clutch in the end of the season. I'd say every point matters. They have the Rangers and the Islanders, which should probably beat both of them. They have Dallas, which they probably lose to. They beat the Sharks. I'm gonna say you lose to the Flames. You either lose one of those New York games, or the Flames game, so they'll lose one of those three. I just say they lose the Flames game. They'll probably win the Canucks game and beat Anaheim, so that'll be 4, 6, 8, 10 points on the board. I'm just gonna say 8 because they probably lose another one of the games. So Wild have 8, and then the Blues probably beat Detroit and Pittsburgh, so I think they end up going an 11-game win streak. So that'll be 4. Lose to Colorado, in my opinion. Lose to the Jets. Lose to the Oilers. Beat the Kraken, and beat the Hockey Club. It'll be 8 points for them too. But yeah, I think they'll both get at 8 points throughout the last 7 games, and Wild to finish 1 point above the Blues and play the Knights in the first round, in my opinion. So that would set up, if it goes right, in my opinion, it'd be the Jets versus Blues, Knights versus Wild, Kings versus Oilers, Stars versus Avalanche in the first round. Yeah. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's podcast episode. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great of your morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time you're watching this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you haven't already. Turn post notification channel if you haven't already. Following it on Spotify and liking the episode on Spotify. Same thing as subscribing and watching the video on YouTube, just so you know. Check out the description of this video. I forgot to shout that at the beginning of the video. Check out this description of this video. It has all my social medias. Spotify, Twitch, Discord, my Discord for this. USHL discussion group, about 5.2 thousand USHL fans. A Facebook group that I made myself, and another Facebook group with about 1,000 Saints for Life fans on there. 1,000 Dubuque Fine Saints fans on their Facebook group. I did not make that one myself, but it's so cool. Check out paragraph and a half who I am, what I do in this podcast, all you need to know about this podcast. Another paragraph, how to contact me if you have any comments, questions, concerns about this podcast. All that much more is in the description of this podcast episode. But yeah, hope you enjoyed today's episode 9 of season 10, NHL Monday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 10. I'll see you